Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with a little review looking at a new heavy metal. It was about time I featured some heavy metal, pure heavy metal if you like, and this is a band called Promethium and it is Bleeding the Ghost. So I'll bring up the picture of the cover now so you can see it. This is a new band to me. It's not their first album. They're a UK-based heavy metal band, and this is one of those cases where you can say it's a heavy metal band because it really is. I'll give you a little bit of insight to who they are from the little bit of blurb on the inside, so it'll give you some background to them as well before I give you a full review. After 3 years in the works, you finally have in your hands the 5th album, Bleeding the Ghost. This is the album that started in early 2020 and got delayed due to the pandemic and new members coming on board. This album saw the departure of long-term brother Rozzy, who decided to step down after 10 years, and also vocalist Steve Graham. So this band has been going for 10 years and I didn't even know they existed. And I bet there's lots of rock fans, probably around my vintage, who were all thinking, gosh, I wish there was more, rock music, I'm playing all this old stuff and I'm thinking, there must be something else for me to discover. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, as you know, with the number of bands that I'm now featuring in this series of new rock bands to listen to. So, as I say, this Rozzy stepped down after 10 years, and also vocalist Steve Graham. So we've got a new vocalist as well. Enter Stu on drums, who helped arrange the songs with myself, that's Dan, and that Ben had written. Not only did he ignore me on all the drum parts, as I couldn't explain myself, it says here, but he helped to craft the songs we had and proved to be really integral part of the album. Next up, James joined, and even though metal was new to him, that must have been quite interesting because this is a very heavy album. He took to the reins and helped craft some awesome lyrics and melodies that really helped the album grow. At the very last minute, we decided to look at a new guitarist, and we had one guy on the radar, my old guitar hero from school, and once Andy joined, we knew we had to get him on the album and put down some fantastic solos and melodies. The album is a new beginning for the band. Still heavy, sticking to our roots, but now with increased focus on melody. Play it loud and raise your fists in the air. Dan, love it. Horn. The actual lineup is James Candlin on vocals, Daniel Lovett Horn on guitars, Andy Horwath on guitars, bass, Gentle Ben, and Stu Gordon on drums. So what's it like? Now normally, because I've been around the block a few times, I find it really easy to name drop band after band after band when I listen to heavy metal or rock music, because there are so many trigger points in my brain, so many neural networks where I just go, oh yes, this. I haven't. It's new heavy metal. It's not new wave of British heavy metal. It sounds polished, but it doesn't sound from the 80s. It's not, the vocals are not kind of in the high register. This isn't screaming. The guitars are not endless noodling. There's a tone of some Iommi from the 80s in there, but but there's also the tonality of Opeth, but with clean vocals and more kind of traditional riffs as such. But I'd probably put it in that kind of Opeth range, but with more traditional riffs. But this isn't kind of like that. They're not obvious tracks. Even like bands like Judas Priest, we'll call them, Priest style heavy metal. It's formulaic, and I do know where they're going to go. With this, I didn't. It starts with Goat, which is an instrumental opening, and then Bleeding the Ghost, and then the third track Priest, and Murder She Wrote at number 4. But it's actually where the album really took off for me, and it could be that I was being slowly pulled into the world of Promethium, is from Healing Your Sin, Knives Out, and my favourite track, which was Manhattan. There's some really great light and shade in this, and so it is heavy. The riffs, there's tons of riffs. I mean, there's riffs, and they're not obvious, and some of them you just want them to go on longer than they do. But there's lots of light and shade. The lyrics are dark, there's no doubt about it. The lyrical content is dark. It's not morbid, it's not kind of going to pull you down. The music is is anthemic. It's kind of uplifting, but this isn't kind of like punchy air choruses. This is not AOR. This is heavy metal, and that's where they are. So it's interesting that they say that they've introduced more melody, because I haven't heard what they did before this. So to me, this is heavy stuff, but there is light and shade, and I think that's what gives it the edge. It carries on from that Catfish, Snakebite, and My Fate, the last track, which is another favourite of mine. I think it's really well played, and the enthusiasm for the band shines through without doubt, and it's well worth listening to. So if you're looking for some traditional, heavy metal, you're looking for a new heavy metal band to sink your teeth into, that actually is pushing the boundaries and will keep you guessing on what they're going to do next. And it doesn't let up. It keeps going, but as I say, there's lots of light and shade in it. And this album, Bleeding the Ghost, is well worth a listen. So support them. I'll put the website at the bottom of the description in the video and on the website. So go and check them out. And it's well worth it. It's about 40 minutes long. So I'm not sure if you can get it on vinyl as well, but for that length, it would make an ideal vinyl album as well. It really would. So it's out now. Whoops. And I'm sure if you're a heavy metal fan, you'll really enjoy this band. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here, thank you for subscribing, thank you for visiting the website at lastspinning.co.uk. Take care, keep singing those discs. Remember, music is the healing of the doctor, and I will see you on my next video.